Ready to be there now.
There we go. We are live. And what spot now? We're just going to also go live for our Instagram friends, and then we'll be in business here and ready to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which happens to be food. There we go. We be live everywhere. So hopefully some of our friends, I think some of the parts of the country now, I think have dug out from snow. So here's hoping some of our gang will be able to join us live. And of course, those of you who do this on a regular basis with me know that this stays up for a while on Facebook, and then you can also rewatch it on my YouTube channel. So if you miss out, if you had things going, no worries, no problem. There will be time to watch it later. So I always feel better. I always feel so much better when the first person pops in and says, I'm here. Diane has already made it from New Jersey. Diane, I hope the weather's getting better for you guys back there. We haven't hardly gotten anything. We're a little worried about our snowpack in the mountains because we had such a, haven't we here, Mary, where we are? We've just been mostly rain, and more rain. And by the way, I am with the amazing, fabulous, adorable Mary Harms, who is a mentor of women. She has been helping young women, teaching them how to cook, everything having to do with the kitchen. She really is an expert, and she's going to be sharing her ideas for how to have a well-stocked kitchen. So those of you, as we go along in this, if you have suggestions you want to add and share that you think are good things we should have on hand in our kitchen, feel free to share. And hi, I see Books by Bethany has joined us on Insta, so thanks for that. Yep, here's the gang coming in. Zephyr Hills has arrived. Hi, and Sonia's here. Hitting 40 degrees on Wednesday. Oh, Diane, that's good. I bet you're glad. And Pam is in here from Gatlinburg. So some of our regulars have already joined us. I hope you guys are looking forward to this chat with my friend and mentor, Mary Harms, who really is the queen of the kitchen. And this came about because we were talking at one point, were we, about what makes a well-stocked kitchen or a pantry, and the things that are always good to have on hand for emergencies, bad weather, in case company drops in. And Mary, tell us a little bit how you first got started doing this, because I think you took some young women under your wing, didn't you?
I did about 7 years of a group called Apples of Gold. It was kind of a Bible study cooking class, and it took young women and teaching them how to have things on hand and how easy it is. Because a lot of, groceries are expensive, and the young women got frightened about how much it was going to cost and what if it doesn't turn out. And so I tried to show them some very easy things to do and easy things to have on hand.
Very cool. So Mary's going to hear, oh, my buddy Cindy's here. Hi, Cindy. And she says hi to Mary too. Nicole's joins from Arizona. We've got San Diego represented, and Oregon is here. So guys, I'm so happy so many of you are joining us from different parts of the country for this very fun conversation with Mary. And feel free, if you want to post your suggestions for things that you think are important to always have on hand, feel free to do that. But we're going to jump in right now. I'll try and monitor comments, and Mary's going to show us some of the things she thinks are important. And yeah, we have had some more people on Insta joining us. Hi, you guys. So let's jump right in. Mary, what are some of the things you think are really important to make sure you've got in your pantry? What would you start with?
Basics would be baking powder, baking soda, salt, flour, and sugar. I have my canisters back over here. You don't need to see them. You know what flour and sugar look like. If you don't, well, you need some help for your pantry. But I like to have those on hand because if you have flour on hand and you've got baking soda and baking powder and a can of evaporated milk, you can make waffles for company that you didn't know were coming. You can make bread. You can do all kinds of things. And so I keep this on hand as well as dried milk and coconut milk and any kind of milk that you use at home. It's nice to have a shelf stable type.
Yeah, yeah. Because what if all our poor friends here down south and the east have had these ice storms, and you can't get. Somebody posted did you guys see some of the posts on social media of completely empty grocery shelves? I mean, when stuff is predicted, we all go crazy. Here in Washington and Seattle area, we joke about snowmageddon. They say chance of snow. Wow. And everybody runs to the grocery store and there is nothing. And especially having some sort of milk on hand, canned milk, is I think that's a great idea, Mary. By the way, Pam says cream of chicken soup. Oh yeah, and mushroom for me.
Yeah. Well, add that to your can of chicken, and then you can add, where's my pastas? Um, Noodles. You can add noodles and your chicken and the cream of chicken soup, and you've got a dinner. I use different kinds of pastas for different things. Noodles for chicken noodle soup, but made my husband some mac and cheese, and I like to use pastas that have shapes so that the cheese kind of sticks in and around it. So I have many kinds of pasta besides spaghetti and all of that. But when you've got those on hand, and you can even, you want to hand me that one, Dallas? You can either make up your own pasta sauce, or I get the kind, and this Rayo's is a good brand.
Oh yeah.
I buy it when it's on sale at Costco because it's nice to have when you come home some night and you say, I am so tired. I could just throw this and maybe some sausages and the pasta, and dinner's ready. So, and it depends on what you like. If you don't like tomato sauces, then you need to put things on that you know work well. Um, Something that's gotten really expensive is brown sugar. And
Mm.
I discovered that if you put a teaspoon even of molasses in your white sugar and stir it up, you've got light brown sugar, add a little more, and you've got dark brown.
I never knew that. That's a great suggestion. I love that. And by the way, brown sugar, sometimes I overbuy and then it turns into a lump. And I know somebody said you can put apple slice in with it. Also, I read online and I've tried that. Cover it, put it in your what you're going to use in a bowl and cover it with a damp paper towel and just microwave it real quickly. And that'll moisten it up again. Because doggone, it just goes, sometimes it turns into a brick, and then you're like, what do I do with this?
Slice of fresh bread will help soften it.
White bread, put white bread in it? Really?
But yeah, because it's full of moisture.
Okay, so it just needs moisture. That's why it turns into a brick, right? By the way, hi to those of you who have made it here. Corinna has come in from Ontario. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, we've got Annie is here. Annie Durkin's here. Nicole. So yeah, great tips. And I like also too. What do you think, Mary? About I am a big on big, in case of big emergencies and power out, whatever. Also having, by the way, I started stocking the Costco canned chicken thanks to your advice. But like beef jerky, if you have some kind of
Yeah,
a jerky, do you have that in your pantry? Are you a believer in having something like that?
I do. I sure do. And I have tuna, because tuna is another versatile thing. You can make a sandwich with it, you can make a meal with it, and some of us just eat it plain.
Yeah.
Something, because I don't know about you guys, but there are times in the winter when fresh vegetables are kind of expensive.
Mm.
Just don't feel like making a veggie. I keep bean salad.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It just works well. We can have something as simple as cheese and crackers, and now I've got bean salad. So you can make your own. You could, I get it in a jar because I do.
I always thought, that's interesting because when I think of bean salad, I always just think picnics, in the summer. But that's a
Sure,
good idea to have on hand because or you could even throw it in some homemade soup if you wanted.
you could
Now,
do it. Yes.
I bet I'm sneaking ahead of you, but I remember you also told me it was a good idea to have bouillon on hand.
Yes. Yes. And if you, some of you use the beef is better than beef bouillon, and better than chicken bouillon. Those kind of things are great because if you do, then you can make something like, whoa, split pea soup.
Mm.
Just put in some onion flakes and the bouillon, and you can make soup. And it's very simple, but you just have to know that if you have on hand what you like, then you'll use it. If you don't, if you go, oh, I hate pea soup, I would never make that. Don't.
Yeah. Good point. It doesn't do any good to have it if you're not going to eat it. What's that mix you're showing now?
This is just mixed bean soup, and can buy it mixed. You can make up your own, but those are really easy. I know a lot of us have a barbecuer that has a burner on it, so that when the power goes out, you at least have one burner that you could use, and you could make soup because it usually comes at a time when it's cold outside, and
Yeah.
you have something like that. Um, Also, another thing that I never would have thought of doing because I'm an old cook from scratch girl, but instant mashed potato flakes. One of the
What?
Yeah, you can do that. But if your soup is a little bit thin,
Oh, okay.
you're really out of food. You're
Do you
just
like do you like the taste of it? Maybe they've changed. I haven't had instant potatoes in just years, but they used to have a real icky taste to them. So I'm
I
just wondering.
the roasted garlic flavor.
Okay.
I
So
get
buy something with some flavor.
plain. I get the plain, but I don't usually make it as mashed potatoes. I make it as like if I were making clam chowder, and I want it thick and rich, but I don't want to add a lot of cream.
Mhm.
Some instant mashed potato flakes because that is just more. You make the soup with potatoes, then just adding a few more potatoes is not a problem. So that really helps me to have things on hand that I know I will use. And those of you who like the instant mashed potatoes, hey, on a hard day, use them.
Yeah,
It's not a terrible thing.
good
So,
good point. Good point. Annie says she always has peanut butter on hand.
oh, absolutely.
That's
And
a good thing.
I make about 10 kinds of homemade jams and jellies. If my husband didn't have cheese and peanut butter, he probably would starve if I did.
Very important staples, cheese and peanut butter.
Yeah,
Debbie has, and this is a good one for like the freezer. Debbie says, and I do this too, Debbie. She freezes chopped celery, onion, and mushrooms so they can use them quickly. I
ab-
like that idea.
absolutely. Anything that you use a lot of, and then you go, oh my goodness, I'm not going to have time to use this all up. Throw it in the freezer. Frozen mixed vegetables this time of year are cheaper than fresh vegetables.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I've read somewhere that they're sometimes even better for, I mean, they're frozen right away while they still have their nutrients in them.
That,
So
that,
that's a good idea.
yeah. So, uh, and those of you who have Trader Joe's, they have the most marvelous baby peas, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
and they are wonderful. I add those into all kinds of things.
I
From
love peas.
Yeah, I do too. So,
By the
and
way, I'm
it,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Kathy McCabe said, asks us, do mushrooms freeze well? Well, yes, I found that mushrooms freeze just fine,
yeah,
right? And Sherry said we used to make brown sugar using the molasses thing in Bolivia. A man would come door to door with large bottles of molasses for sale. You guys, Mary, I never knew that. I am so going to try that with the sugar because, the brown sugar sometimes there's always a brown sugar crisis in my house. I'm either running out or it's turned into a brick, so that's good to know.
or you go to a recipe and go, oh golly, I didn't get any brown sugar. I've
Yeah.
always sugar. I've always got molasses. So because I have a
I have
lot.
another tip that has nothing to do for your pantry. Make sure you have good relations with your neighbors. How many times I've had to run next door to my neighbors and go, "Can I borrow a cup of sugar? I'll give you cookies in exchange," or whatever. It's like I think I have everything, and I get started. And of course, the moral of that probably is to keep track of what I've got in my pantry, right? To make sure I'm having a better running list and knowing what's there. Correct? Do you keep any kind of a list? And do you rotate things out of your pantry?
Oh, I do. I do. I do the last in, first out. No, any other way around. First in,
First,
last. Yes,
no,
yes,
no.
whatever. If you
First in,
get in there,
first in, first out.
there you go.
Right.
That
There you go.
this is something. Now, I love garbanzo beans, and I like them already done for me in a can. Except that they've gotten pricey too. A
Mm.
pound bag of these makes 6 cans of garbanzo beans. So what I do is I put them in water and just hold them overnight, and then I put water, rinse them off and put more water on, and then bring them to a boil, and just cook them until they're soft. And I don't add the salt until they're soft. Then I add salt, and then I put them in Ziploc sandwich bags and throw them in the freezer. And then I take all those little
Oh,
bags,
love
put them
that.
in a Ziploc bag. Now I've got black beans in this bag, I've got red beans in that bag, and garbanzo beans in that bag. And I'm never out because it's expensive to buy. And again, some of us don't live really close to a grocery store.
Mm.
So that makes it tough. And beans, again, you can do anything with. So that's one of my tricks is I cook them up and then freeze them in amounts that I can make, throw into a soup, throw into a salad. It just works really well.
Good. I like that idea. Hi, Pam has just joined us. Hi. Debbie says she usually cooks her mushrooms in butter before freezing them.
I
That
do.
sounds good to me. Do you do that too, Mary? Oh, you guys, I need to do that. I'm just usually sticking them in raw, but I'd love that idea.
Saute mine and then throw them again in little baggies, and in they go. Also, something else is, the kind of, I like rice. I like basmati rice quite a bit, and you get it in a great big bag. But I will put them in smaller containers, and then have it so that I can have it when I want it. Um, the other thing, oh yes, my husband's peanut butter was already out here to show you.
Ah ha ha, Jif. I only do atoms. I'm a purist when it comes to my peanut butter.
Well, I have to deal with the man, you
Yeah,
know.
you do. You got to do what the man says. Mine just sort of eats what he's given, so I'm pretty well off that way. Nicole says I've been putting garbanzo beans in mac and cheese. Huh. Well, now that's interesting.
Yes.
Huh.
And I made macaroni and cheese for the high school kids when we lived in Ocean Shores, and I had all white cheese and it looked really pale. So I just grated a bunch of carrots and threw it in.
Oh, for heaven's sake! So you snuck some vegetable snuck. You sneaked some vegetables in there then.
But it was orange. And so now it looks like cheddar cheese.
Oh, that's too funny. And they didn't realize they were eating carrots.
We
Oh,
do.
wow, that is very clever.
Oh, so
Oh gosh, that's funny. Okay, Mary, what else have you got in your pantry for us?
right here I've got salmon. Now I like to make salmon patties and with crackers and that sort of thing. Not everybody does, but again, I'm trying to think of things I could keep shelf stable if
Hmm.
it didn't have any power for a while. So
Good.
that another thing that is really important is make sure you have the kind of oil you like. I've got
Mm.
OO and I've got avocado oil.
Mm, yeah,
I like,
nice.
I like avocado oil because it's got a real high smoke point, so that
Oh, okay.
setting off the alarms, because that happens if you
Oh,
don't.
didn't think of that. That's a great idea. Yeah, I love using olive oil too for that. By the way, you guys, as Mary's getting her next goodie ready to show us, speaking of olive oil, if none of you had gotten my friend Rachel Linden's book, The Secret of Orange Blossom Cake, you need to get that just for the cake recipe. I made that thing like 3 times. I have to stop, but it uses olive oil in the cooking. And I didn't realize this, that I guess Italian ladies use a lot of olive oil in their cooking. I had never done that in my life. We'd use regular old, vegetable oil. I was so surprised, olive oil, but it's really good. So,
When I took Latin in high school, our Latin teacher said that the people in Rome never ever used butter on their bread. They only used olive oil. And I thought that's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. But now, very nice restaurant, you get the balsamic vinegar and olive oil to dip your bread in.
oh
This,
yeah.
this is something else I keep on hand, are things that are marinades. This is a marinade for teriyaki sauce because it has everything in it that I would put in my teriyaki sauce, and I don't have to make it because I am older. And so some days I just don't feel like making it, but I can just open a bottle of it and pour it on. And so I keep it in the cupboard.
That's a good idea. Now, what do we got here? Is that
Or
Worcestershire?
sauce.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The most amazing thing when you've got a soup, a stew, whatever, and you go, it just doesn't have enough flavor because the things that they put in Worcestershire sauce are the same things that we would put in if we had a lot of money and a lot of time. And so you just take and put a few things of that in, and it really does make a huge difference.
Huh.
I also try to keep my herbs and things all the time. Granulated garlic. Now, I am one of those terrible people, and I know it makes people just crazy. They go, "How can you not?" I can't handle raw garlic. My body,
Oh.
you know, uh, could I be allergic to something like chocolate? Maybe that would help, but no, it's got. And so, because of that, I can use granulated garlic because it's been dried. And so I can use that. But also, you don't always have garlic on hand. And so I get the granulated because it doesn't have the salt in it. And so I don't have to add salt. I
Oh,
also use Italian spaghetti herbs because it takes a lot of different herbs to make a good sauce. And sometimes I have them and sometimes I don't. And so that is a really helpful thing to yeah, go around that way. We have a puppy who needs to come in the house.
Speaking of herbs, I've always said, oh, your herbs, they'll go bad and you should get rid of them after a certain point. I'm, I just don't buy into that. I have herbs I've had around forever and they are still perfectly potent.
Use twice as much if they say, oh, they don't taste as strong. So use more.
Yeah, use more if you got the jar sitting around. Just don't throw the jar out. It's just,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
have dried parsley always, parsley flakes, because sometimes I have fresh parsley, sometimes I do not. And so, but that's another thing. If you've got a great big bunch of parsley and you use this much of it and you go, oh, now what do I do? Just chop it up and I freeze it flat out
oh, okay.
in like a sandwich Ziploc bag or a quart Ziploc bag. And then I make it flat, all chopped up, flat. So all you have to do is break off a corner. It
Didn't
works.
occur to me that you could freeze. I never thought of freezing parsley. I thought of drying it, but just freezing it, regular old parsley, you can freeze that. Oh, that's good to know.
You could freeze it. You could freeze it in ice cubes too, and then you just throw those. But this works better for me to just freeze it like it is.
By the way, Diane says she used to put, you must be talking about the Worcestershire sauce. You used to put that sauce on a tuna sandwich, fry it
Ooh,
on a grill on the stove, quick, tasty tuna sandwich. So that would be your seasoning in the tuna filling, I'm assuming you meant, right? That's kind of a good idea. Pam says you must have a large freezer. It does help to have freezer space. We have got here at the main house a side by side, and it's hard for me to put extra stuff because I filled it so full of berries that I've scrounged over the summer. So I can't really stock up. I mean, I have some meat, but it's like I feel like I always get more meat, but the berries, that's seasonal. So I've got a bunch of blueberries and strawberries, but those take room. I'm thinking, Mary, I'm going to run this idea by you. I've been, doing them in the big old, the freezer bags, but I'm almost thinking I'm going to save my milk cartons and put them in that because I can stack them. I think I can get more room, don't you think? If I just do my berries in like milk cartons?
yeah. Anything that gives you more even spacing, and so that you can stack them on top of each other.
Yeah,
That
I'm just thinking that might be more space in my freezer, don't you think?
and then see what I do then is I make up a bunch of jam and then
Well, then you're good to go. Yeah, and I gave up baking jam many years ago. I was not the best. I really liked it, you guys, when I lived near Mary because I would get jam. Now I'm on my own. I don't do jam, and I gave up on canning several years ago. I realized those get really hard to lift those big old jars in and out of the pot, and I don't want to do that anymore. But so I don't do any canning. Does anybody out there do home canning still? I know a lot of us probably freeze things, but well, Mary, I know there's more to show in your pantry. I know you've got some more things, so let's get on with that.
Okay, let's go here. Well, some of you saw that little thing of me this morning dressed in my. I had no idea I was going to be on, so
Poor Mary. I said we got to do a test run.
grab anything. So I grabbed some quinoa. Now I have quinoa in red and black, and this is the white. And it's the smallest jar. I have a big jar of the red because it's my favorite. But when you want something and you don't want rice and you've just had that, um, I I like to go see this is what happens as you get older and you go, you know, Costco had that delicious uh, kind of mango curry chicken.
Oh,
From,
yeah. I
yeah.
love Costco.
So I went to make that and realized that I didn't have my rice because I had to put some buggy rice out chickens. So uh, I didn't have any rice. So I thought, well, wait a minute. I have got quinoa coming out my ears. So I made quinoa and was served it with that. And I thought it was delicious. Now, my husband said it was okay. And then I left it. So, it's not everybody's thing, but
Mhm.
and it's something that cooks very quickly. And again, it's shelf stable. I love the shelf stable things.
Yes.
Don't If you don't do that. Now, see, I could take that same quinoa and put taco seasoning in it.
Oh, interesting. I never would have thought of
Now
that.
got Spanish rice.
Oh,
And
that love that.
I use this a lot and almost never for tacos because I don't know, biting into a
Why use it for tacos, even if it is taco seasoning? Oh, that's funny. I love that.
lot of
By the way,
things.
I have to laugh because Pam said I don't have the time or interest in doing my own canning. I'm kind of with you, Pam. I'm a freezer girl. The freezers are so handy. Unless you're out of power for days on end, everything in your freezer dies, so that's not good. But that brings us back to why Mary's talking about having shelf-stable things in the pantry, because you're going to have a better chance that you'll have something to eat when there's no power, right?
It's hard to live without the things that you are used to. I couldn't believe the amount of people who, when 2020 came around and they went, "Oh, I made bread. I could actually make bread. It's hard." No, it's not that hard. You just have to do it. And it's something that I have some wonderful bread recipes that if I remember to do them, I just stir and then do them in the afternoon. And now I've got this lovely bread. But you don't always remember to do those things. So you might want to have plenty of crackers on hand.
There, yeah, I think that's good. And bread just such a time consumer. Not that you have to be there, but you have to be around. You gotta let it rise, and you gotta let it rise again. And I did, for those of you who were hanging with me on Instagram, I did post my picture of my French bread that I had made bread in probably 20 years, and it turned out pretty good. But it was it took my whole doggone Saturday mucking around making bread. But and my funny story, I don't know about many of you, but in COVID, of course, all of a sudden everybody's decided to bake bread. I'm just doing my regular baking and I want flour. I hunting for flour, finding flour was a challenge. It was like, oh my gosh, where's the flour? So I think it's good to, that's a big staple for me. I got to make sure I've got some flour and sugar and that type of stuff there. And I love your idea with the different canned things because, again, it's shelf stable and an emergency. Do you have your little pretzels handy for those who missed our infomercial earlier when we were testing our technology? I love this. I'm going pretzels. Really, that needs to be in a well-stocked pantry. So tell us why on earth do I need pretzels in my well-stocked pantry?
Well, because my husband snack. Number two, because I always have dipped them in chocolate or white chocolate at Christmas, do sprinkles or whatever. But this isn't Christmas. But if you decide you need a dessert to go someplace, they never go wanting. I mean, everybody loves to eat them. They love that salty, sweet taste. So, and if you don't have dipping chocolate or any of those things, what you can use is chocolate chips. And then if you put, if you've got coconut oil, coconut,
Yeah.
tiny bit of it will thin that out because you think, oh, it seems too thick and it doesn't work as well. Just use a little bit of coconut oil in that. See, that's another oil that I have on hand.
Does it harden up then with the coconut oil like it should?
It, if you're only adding a half a teaspoon of coconut oil, it will hit. If you put
Oh,
too much, it's going to be very creamy and not set up as well as you'd like. But yeah, it works really well with this. And I do, well, in the years when I wasn't older, I made so many kinds of things at Christmas, and I would dip like half of a dried apricot in white chocolate, and you put that on it. It adds color, but it also adds nutrition. And I've done, raisins and or white chocolate and dried cranberries is very pretty. You
no,
can do
yum.
things, and you can do those for. I mean, Valentine's is coming up. You
That's right. Valentine's Day. And you know, you guys probably saw at Christmas, everybody was doing them where you did again, it was those square, those little Snyder square waffle pretzels.
right.
And you melt, you put in, put a little Hershey's Kiss, that was the peppermint everybody was doing. And just enough to melt that. And then you squash it down, put a little M&M on the top. And that was an instant Christmas candy to make. And you could do the same thing for Valentine's Day. Just get a chocolate, Hershey's Kiss, melt it on there, squash it down, and there's your Valentine candy for somebody. So that's a good suggestion.
Yeah. Well, all of those things work so well to have on hand because they obviously, when they're making them industrially, don't make them the night before. So just know that it always works and it's always nice to have on hand. And if your family gets into them and eats your pretzels, well, then just buy another bag.
There you go. By the way, we had a couple latecomers come in. Thank you to those of you who've just joined us. For whatever you've missed, this will be on my Facebook page for a while, but then it will be living for quite a long time on my Sheila Roberts YouTube page. So if you haven't subscribed to my little channel, you might want to do that. We have all kinds of fun interviews there. So I see that, yeah, who just said, yeah, Anne-Marie has joined us from Massachusetts. So thank you. And Pam says she loves peanut butter pretzels. Yeah, that's always a good thing. Those ones,
Oh, yeah.
the peanut butter in them. Those are great to have on hand. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, speaking of good snacks, so I found these at my little dollar store. They had dried dates. I hadn't had dates in years. I thought, what do I use dates for? Well, this was about, was it either, I think it was summer before last, I was visiting book clubs and I went to this one book club and she called them, I forget what she called it, good for you, Reese's peanut butter cups or something. But you had the pitted date, slit it, you put a little bit of peanut butter inside, and then you dip that in chocolate. And oh my gosh, that is such a yummy treat and so fun to have on hand, and a pretty much good for you treat. So some having that some dried fruit in your pantry, right, is always a good thing.
That was the next thing I was going to say is, that dried cranberries, raisins, apricots, dates, anything, and nuts. Nuts are great to have. I always have almonds and pistachios and um, pecans and walnuts. If I said walnuts already, anyway. Uh, but those are nice to have on hand. And I know that nobody else ever does this, but I do. I'll put them in a bowl and put them in the microwave for 1 minute and then stir them and put them in another minute and then maybe 30 seconds. And they toast and you don't have to put them in your oven or anything. And so
Oh,
it's very nice to have. In fact, when I did almond, the like almond bark,
Yeah, yeah.
I just roast the almonds in the bowl, then take the almond bark, set it on top of it. The heat of the almonds would melt it, and then just spread it out on your
Ah,
grease-proof paper, and it just break it up, and it works fantastic.
oh, I
Yeah,
love that. That sounds so good. Yeah, Pam, like microwave nuts. I'm with you, Pam. I'm so surprised. I never would have thought to do that, or that you could do that. So that's
yeah,
interesting.
nobody tells you you can. They all say turn it on the oven at 250 or something, and I thought, well, I just want to see if I could, because
Hmm.
I'm kind of a girl, and so it worked. You don't want to leave them in too long because the burnt nuts do not taste great.
Oh,
So,
no kidding.
but
I love that.
just stir them up, and you can see how long you're going to do them. And my one of my favorite go-to things.
Very nice. I love that. That's Nicole saying that we're making her hungry. By the way, Corleen was mentioning now I want chocolate dipped strawberries because Corleen mentioned that, and those are easy to make. You're right. You just melt your little chocolate chips and dip the chocolate in them, and those are Valentine's Day is coming, ladies. All these are really nice fat things,
You
fast things.
buy them; they are so expensive.
Yeah, no, no kidding. If you buy them, oh my gosh, it's just arm and a leg. So, is there anything else that we're missing in our pantry, Mary?
See, what else do I have here? Golly, um, well, I had the oh lentils. Now lentils are kind of, you know, they seem like a poor man's food, but lentil chili is quite delicious. And again, I did this one time when I thought, I want to make some chili, but I don't have any beans cooked up. And the lentils don't take, these little French lentils don't take very long to cook. And so you just cook them up, add all the things. This is something I've discovered is if you add all the seasonings that you would add to a regular chili, it tastes like chili. In the,
Chili with lentils. Okay, now there's a new one for me. Oh my goodness, who'd have thunk it?
and
Wow.
again, my taco seasoning mix.
Ah, it's a taco seasoning mix, guys. We got to have that on hand.
Yeah, and I did for years. My parents had a great big garden, and in the summertime, there would be so many green beans, and I got sick and tired of canning green beans and freezing green beans. So I decided one day because I was wanting to make something that didn't have any extra calories in it. I made green bean chili. So I put onions, peppers, and tomato sauce and everything. Put your green beans in, season it up just like if you were going doing chili.
Yeah.
Got green bean chili. It's one of Dallas's favorites.
Green bean chili. Okay, guys, you heard it here. I would never have thought green bean chili. That's just crazy. So, but did you add hamburger then, like for just green beans and sauce?
It out because I'd have my meat, and this would,
Okay.
and I would have lots of veggies because there are times when if we don't want to have our own zip code, we have to have more veggies. So that's
Okay.
things is I
I
would
love that. That's so clever. Oh my gosh, who'd have thunk it? Oh, let's see. Diane has mentioned a friend of mine makes a tray of Ritz crackers, a little jelly on them, and a slice of boiled ham. Looked weird, but tasted great. Heated in the oven for a few minutes. Well, okay, so it's almost like a glazed ham little snack on a cracker. I mean, crackers are always good to have on hand, don't you think?
yeah, I've got several kinds. And I like whole grain ones because I like whole grains. But my husband likes soda crackers and oyster crackers. And so we have those too. And again, you know, we're making things at Christmas time like Chex Mix and all of that. Well, why not make some of that kind of mixed up with oyster crackers and the
Good
pretzel
idea.
things and some nuts. And another great thing to do with the nuts, if you want to go fancy, is get the big jar of really expensive nuts and then just put a few of those in all those things. And it's amazing. It makes it taste so classy. And
Oh,
everybody
that's good.
never would have thought of that.
It'll make you, and that, of course, that makes that big jar of nuts last longer if you mix them in with something, which is always a good idea. And we're always being told how good nuts are for us, especially walnuts, I've heard are very good for us. So we've got time for one more. Give me two more important things we have to have in our pantry before I let you go, Mary.
Looking here to see what I didn't mention before.
Yeah, is there anything we've missed out on? Green bean chili. Oh my gosh, you
Oh,
guys, I'm gonna try
yeah.
that.
Bring out all of my dried fruits that I have. I have many kinds, but those are things that are important to have.
Okay,
And
dried fruits.
if any kind of canned meats. Oh, canned chili. Unbelievable. You get a good kind of
Mm.
chili. And on a night when things are really, yeah, what's going on? Nothing for dinner. Just throw some baked potatoes in the microwave, heat up the chili, put a little cheese on top, and you've got dinner. So
Golly, now that's what I want for dinner. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. Ah, I bet you guys have some made this before too. I think it has different names that we called them chili tacos. And you have your Fritos. I mean, it's such a not the most nutritious, semi-nutritious. So you have that for underneath, and then you heat up chili and you pour that over it, and then add shredded cheese, the chopped up tomato and lettuce, and it's like it's a fast dinner. But
right.
again, you want to have some of this stuff on hand. You don't have the canned chili on hand or the little stuff to go under it. Then you're like, oh, wish I had that in my pantry. So, I need to Frito pie. Yeah, Pam, that's the other word I've heard it called, Frito pie. And for me, I'm realizing I have a lot because I love to entertain. I'm realizing I still am taking up a lot of covered space with dishes that we really don't use that much anymore. And I'm thinking some of those need to go, and I need to make more room for supplies. But I also realized I need to rotate my supplies and I need to use stuff more. I've got things sitting in my fridge that are probably looking like a science project by now. So how important it is it? Do you every so often check your pantry to make sure you're rotating things out?
Absolutely. In fact, that's one of the things I do is go through the fridge and see, we have what we call refrigerator treasures. See, what is this? Well, oh yeah, that's when we had that. No, it's still good. Okay, we'll have this with it and have that with it. My mother-in-law used to come to visit, and she and the girls would make up a little menu, and she'd write it all up and put prices next to it and
Oh,
play with
that's so cute.
the grandkids. Yes, so all
I love that.
it's just it's just a matter of doing it because we get used to the same things over and over
Yeah,
again.
you're right. We do. We
And
do.
I didn't bring out the oatmeal. I have oatmeal. I have 9 grain cereals. I have all those things. Uh, I grind my own grains, and so I have cornmeal. And
Wow.
oh, I like my cornmeal mush better than I do the cream of wheat. Well, that's
Oh,
great. Good for you.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. I think that's all such a good idea. So, guys, I'm hoping that some of Mary's advice you found that helpful, and feel free to, as we'll keep this up later, and if you want to add comments on things you add in your pantry. Corinne says, I keep dried cranberries and pumpkin seeds in the cupboard. Great for salad or trail mix. That's a good idea too. I never seem to have enough salad toppings to make your heart happy because salad is not his friend, and so it has to have lots of stuff loaded in it. So I think that's a great tip. But you guys, I hope you've enjoyed having a chance to chat a little bit with Mary, and this has inspired you and given you some good ideas. And I love the refrigerator treasures. I'm gonna have to go treasure hunting and start using up some of this stuff that's been sitting in my refrigerator forever. So that's a great idea. So hopefully some of you will have a chance to go on a treasure hunt and see if you can find some treasures in your refrigerator. But thanks for joining us. First, I'm going to say goodbye to our Insta people. Thanks, you guys, for joining in. If you came in late, again, run over to YouTube and check out my Sheila Roberts channel, and you'll be able to hear the whole interview there. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're subscribed and hanging out. And what a fun, Mary, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
You're a great friend, and I loved being with your friends.
Well, it was just lovely and very fun talking with you. And we're going to say bye now, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. And you're still having cold weather. Stay warm, everybody. Okay. Oh.